Hey everyone, this is the No Excuses podcast with Ryan Montes and Alana Banks. Ryan, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You often talk about mindset shifts and coachy type of things. So
Yes.
I'm wondering, what is, in your opinion, is the one mindset shift that dramatically could change someone's life?
Cool. That's a good question. So everybody needs to listen really carefully because it's going to be like, when I say it, it's going to be like 3 words and it's going to be the most important thing that they will have ever heard. And they're going to wonder, like, it's going to be one of those listening to this episode, obviously, will be one of those before and after moments in their life. Like there was life before I listened to episode number
4?
5, 6, whatever this is, of the No Excuses podcast. And then there was life after this episode. And I have 2 answers to this question. I guess the question was, what's that one mindset shift that when you make it, things will be dramatically different and better? And there's 2 answers to the question. The first one is, it depends on the person. That's answer number 1. And it's not a cop-out because literally for every single human, they are one decision or one mindset shift away from a dramatically different life. The challenge is knowing which one, right? For every single person. Because the mindset that you step into that lets you get everything you've ever wanted in life is one mindset, and it falls on a hierarchy, right? And it's whichever one is highest in the hierarchy in your hypothetical mindsets, right? And there might be mindsets lower in the hierarchy that are incredibly empowering, but still are not the one that will make more difference than any. That's answer number 1. That's
Okay.
answer number 1.
Like it?
I like it too. And it's true and it's honest. Answer number 2 is take responsibility. If I had to pick one mindset shift that will allow a person to step into their identity of somebody who gets what they want in life, unapologetically, it would be take responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
And accept that there's no one to blame for you not getting what you want other than you. It's a tough pill to swallow, right?
That is, yeah. I'm going to assume that right now there's some people who are listening that are like, ugh, that's a bit of a punch to the gut, because that's a lot to take in, especially if you come from a mindset where you're not taking 100% responsibility.
Yeah.
Right? Or where you think you're taking responsibility, but when you really, really look at it deep down, it's like, okay, yeah, I've got some work to do.
Right? Yeah. The really fun and really beautiful thing about that mindset shift, take responsibility, everything falls on me, is that it's not necessarily true, like, and people use this expression, true with a capital T. It's not like you could go into a laboratory and, come up with some scientific definitive evidence that everything, that you could get whatever you wanted if you just took responsibility. It's not that kind of true. It's a different kind of true called an empowering belief, where when you choose to believe it, it will affect the way you conduct yourself, the opportunities that become available to you through your awareness, and the decisions that you make. It's a different kind of true. Mm-hmm. So like, if a baby's hypothetically born into a prison because their parent is in prison, am I going to say, take responsibility, baby, and get yourself out of this prison? This is a weird hypothetical situation I've come up with, obviously. But like, no, okay? Like, that's why it's not true with a capital T. But is it the responsibility of the baby as it grows and learns and turns into an older person to take, to say, okay, it's not my fault that I'm here, but I'm going to see what can I do that's within my power to get out of here. That is their responsibility. One more thing, quickly.
Yeah.
It's not your fault how you wound up where you are, or maybe it was, but that doesn't matter. What matters is what you do next, right? Whatever happened, what's next?
Yeah. What's next? That's always a good question to ask yourself. But, as you're talking about the baby in prison kind of situation, it made me think, and I imagine a lot of other people who this might be new to are thinking is, okay, so I'm a baby, I grew up in prison, but chances are I'm surrounded by a lot of people that aren't really going to give me many opportunities. If you're in a situation that is really bad and you're thinking to yourself, what's next? and I'm not even surrounded by people who can help me, what do those people do? What do people do who are in that position where they're just like, they really are feeling like there's no out?
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. If there wasn't a way out, or there wasn't something you could do, or there wasn't some reframe, or there wasn't some action that could be taken, you probably wouldn't have the awareness that there even is an out. You would just be living in what is your normal, right? If the baby grows up with zero awareness that there's any existence outside of the prison, then they're not going to be bothered by the fact that they're in the prison, because that's just their reality. That's just normal everyday life. But if people in the prison are saying, well, there's this place called the outside world and things are different and better, well, now it's in the baby's awareness, right? And so that's the hint, because there's a lot of people that live in, difficult circumstances, difficult situations, and they've accepted it as their reality. And for better or worse, that's probably going to remain their reality for a long time. It's almost a challenge to the people who realize, okay, this could be different. Well, if part of you, and it's not me or you, Alana, or somebody on TV telling that person this could be different or better, it's that voice is coming from within them. And your own unconscious mind, subconscious mind, higher self, call it what you will, is not going to send you those signals that life could be better or things could be better if it doesn't genuinely know that there's at least a chance of achieving better for you. At least that's my opinion and experience.
Yeah. And I think that's the key, right? That's the key right there. It's the awareness. So, if that awareness is within you, if you all of a sudden have become aware of, I want more than this, like this is not the life I want, then that is the signal that or the green light to go and find the resources that you need to get out of whatever you're in, to start taking responsibility for making that change. And there are so many of those kinds of stories, especially like basketball players and actors and, all kinds of famous people who have literally come from absolutely nothing, gotten the signal, and then, found the resources they needed or met the people they needed or whatever to explode their life and completely change everything. So I think that's it right there.
Yeah.
The key is the awareness.
The awareness. And here's the good news as well. If you're hearing this, that means you're listening to a podcast. And if you're listening to a podcast, you're already kind of living a charmed life, right? It may not feel like it all the time, but if you have access to electricity and a device that allows you to access the internet, you're kind of ahead of the game compared to a lot of people who are alive right now. And if you have access to the internet, which again, if you're listening to this podcast, probably you do, you have access to resources beyond your imagination and information for free, or relatively free, that can change your life quickly, right? If you choose to pursue them.
Yeah. Yeah. And also just sitting and, you may be having an aha moment right now where you're like, yeah, I have been down on myself, or, I feel like I'm not getting what I want, or I feel stuck or whatever. But take this as the signal too, to go out and take 100% responsibility for what's happening. Really look at your life and be like, is this what I want? Do I want more? Do I have the resources? Not meaning money, but could just be time, could be listening to other podcasts, could be finding other coaching podcasts to listen to further your desires. But I like that. I think, yes, the whole responsibility thing. I know for me, 100% responsibility was a huge mindset shift for me once it came into my awareness. But there was a long time where I was kind of unaware, living in that victim mindset, which I think many people, obviously you start there. I don't know if we all grow up with 100% knowing we have 100% responsibility, but I think, especially as a parent, that's something that I'm teaching my kids, that they are responsible for their actions and their results and, what they want in their life. And I think that that's something that as parents, children should start learning at also a younger age.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I see it, I see it in my kids a lot where they're, down on their luck and they're, feeling bad about something. And all it takes is a quick reframe to let them know that they have 100% responsibility for whatever it is they're doing.
Yeah. Yeah. And here's the thing. Here's a quick test for people that are listening. You're taking responsibility when you're also taking action. So if there's something that you really want in life, and you talk about it and you think about it and you complain about not having it, but you don't actually ever do anything to move towards it or to get it, you're not taking responsibility. Mm-hmm. You're just being, right? If you're taking some action, any action in the direction of achieving those things that you want, even if they do feel far away, then you're taking responsibility, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, what is one thing that people could take away from today? And if they are all of a sudden having this realization that they're not taking a lot of responsibility for whatever it is that they're having problems with, what's one thing that they could do today to move the needle?
Realize that there's only two choices don't result in suffering when it comes to achieving goals. You can choose to accept your current circumstances and be either neutral or happy about them, or you can choose to take action in the direction of what you want. But if you refuse to accept your current circumstances and you keep desiring something else, yet you do not take action in the direction of that thing, you are choosing suffering. And it is a choice. And it is a choice. Tough pill to swallow, but it is a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So accept or act are your choices. Everything else is a choice to suffer.
Mm-hmm. I love it. So
me too.
That was a quick one, but I think that we pretty much nailed that huge mindset shift. And if you're in that place right now where you're suffering maybe, or you're feeling stuck, this is the signal to take action. Either choose to continue suffering or take action now.
Exactly. That's a good for the hypnotists in the audience. That's an elegant double bind. Maybe we'll talk about that someday on another episode. I love it. I think let's leave it there.
Yeah.
People who are listening, get out there and take action, or just go take a hot bath and relax and realize things aren't so bad. Mm-hmm. Both are good.
Yeah.
But don't just sit there being sad that you don't have something. Oh, one more quote before we wrap up.
Okay.
I saw Neil Strauss wrote this on his Instagram a few weeks ago, and I think he was quoting somebody else, but maybe not. And I'm going to paraphrase probably. If you want it, you don't need it because you have everything you need, or something like that. Go follow Neil Strauss on Instagram if you want the exact wording, something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you want it, you don't need it.
Because if you needed it, you'd have it. I think that's the better wording. If you needed it, you'd have it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to end it on that note. This is the No Excuses podcast with Ryan Montes and Elena Banks. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.